honest for a second. Do you ever feel that like little knot of tension that kind of creeps in, when the topic of money comes up? And while we've all probably got our spending habits, the stuff you've brought to this deep dive makes me think there's something much bigger at play here, like a connection between our wallets and, well, our actual well-being, debt especially. It's like it gets under your skin in ways you wouldn't expect. So today, we're going way beyond just like surface level money worries, right? We're diving deep into the real psychological impact of debt, how it messes with your thoughts, your relationships, even your physical health. Get ready, because this is going to be eye-opening.
You're totally right. It goes way beyond just the numbers on a spreadsheet or whatever. Debt brings up these intense feelings like you're trapped or completely overwhelmed, even ashamed sometimes. And it can make you isolate yourself, like avoiding stuff with friends or not asking for help because you're worried what people will think.
Yeah, and there was this one story really stuck with me. Someone saying they dodged dinner with friends because they couldn't afford it. But then that just made them feel even more alone, which made the money worries worse, not better.
Exactly. And that's what's wild, that emotional weight of debt. It spirals. Your body goes into this like constant state of red alert. It's a physiological response, to feeling uncertain for too long.
So it's not just all in our heads then. There's a real physical reaction happening.
Absolutely. Your sleep gets messed up. You're more irritable, can't focus.
Yeah.
All classic signs of stress, right? But then that impacts everything else. How you are with people, how much you get done. And that just makes it harder to make good financial decisions in the first place.
Right.
Which can lead to more debt. It's a nasty cycle.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, it's easy to see how you get stuck in that, like, spinning your wheels kind of feeling. But before we both spiral here, you mentioned earlier about subtle shifts, right? Like, how do you even notice when debt stress is getting to be too much mentally?
You've got to be aware. That's the key. It's not always like, bam, total meltdown,
Yeah.
Could be as simple as bailing on plans more often, your mood's all over the place, or even just your body insomnia, always wiped out.
Okay, but lots of people deal with that stuff anyway, right? Not just if they're stressed about money.
Exactly, which is why we miss it. We brush it off like, oh, bad day or whatever. But if it's tied to this money stuff, got to catch it early before it really goes off the rails.
So how do you do that once you realize, oh, crap, this is more than just a bad day? It's easy to feel totally stuck, right? Like the pressure's too much.
Oh, for sure. That feeling is so real. But what if, instead of tackling it all at once, head on, we hit pause on the panic for a second?
Pause. Okay.
That's where this mindfulness stuff comes in. It sounds kind of out there, maybe, but it can really work.
Mindfulness for debt. I'm intrigued, but skeptical.
Right. It's not the obvious link. But things like meditation, deep breathing, it calms your system down, gives you space between you and all those thoughts racing about bills and all that.
So it's not about ignoring the problem. It's like getting some breathing room so you can actually deal with it.
Bingo. Like there's this 4-7-8 breathing thing. You breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 7, out for 8. Super simple, but it really helps with anxiety. Or tons of meditation apps now, even some specifically for money worries.
Makes sense. Got to quiet the noise so you can think straight. Okay, that's calming down. But what about concrete action? You said the B word before, and I think you meant budget, not the other one.
Yes. Budgeting. It gets a bad rap, I know. But it's not about depriving yourself. It's about knowing what's UP. Gives you power.
Yeah, you told that story before about someone who just making a budget, it actually made their mental health better.
Right. They said it was like this huge relief because they finally knew where their money was going. Then you can make choices, right?
Yeah.
Spending, saving. It's not just this helpless feeling anymore.
So instead of, I'm drowning, it's, okay, I've got a plan, I can handle this. But what about when, even with a budget, it's just too much, like the debt feels impossible?
And that, my friend, is where you got to call in the big guns. Get some help and don't feel bad about it for 1 second. It's the smartest thing you can do.
There's help out there, right? Like actual resources.
Tons. Debt relief places, they can help you work out deals with whoever you owe or set up a payment plan that's actually doable. Credit counseling, that's more about learning how to budget right, save, all that. And then the government's got stuff too, like the National Debt Helpline, totally free advice, and they're not going to judge.
Okay, good to know. So those more formal approaches, you mentioned debt management plans. What are those exactly, and how do they help with the mental side, not just the money side?
Right, so a DMP, it's basically an agreement. You and all the people you owe, you figure out a schedule to pay it back, usually with lower interest or fees, so it's not as crushing. Or there's IVAs, that's more legal, but it bundles all your debt into one payment each month. Point is, it's structured. And usually you're paying less each month, which instantly takes the pressure off.
And that's huge, right? Just having that burden lifted, even a little, can make a world of difference mentally.
Absolutely. One person said starting their DMP, it was like this huge weight got lifted off them. Powerful, right? Suddenly they could actually focus on other stuff like taking care of themselves or mental health, which they could even think about before.
Man, that's what it's all about, right? That feeling you can get through this. But I don't know, even just talking about debt, it's like this taboo thing makes it even harder to ask for help sometimes.
Oh, 100%. It's crazy how much stigma there is around debt.
Yeah.
People treat it like you did something wrong instead of like sometimes life happens,
Yeah.
job loss, medical bills, or just bad luck.
Yeah, and then you feel ashamed, so you don't tell anyone, and the whole thing just gets worse. We've covered a lot, though, huh? All that anxiety debt causes, the mindfulness stuff, the practical tips, budgets, these plans. If someone's listening, what's the one thing they need to hear?
Take care of your head, take care of your money, they go together. And don't wait till it's a crisis, those early warning signs, that's when you act.
It's not about being good with money or bad. It's about realizing how much it affects us deep down.
Exactly. And like we said before, asking for help, whether it's a pro or just someone you trust, that's strength, not weakness. Grab that lifeline if you need it.
So much to think about. This has been intense, and it makes you wonder, is part of the problem how we think about debt as a society? Something to chew on for sure. Maybe if we change the conversation, we can actually support each other better, where everyone feels like they can be honest about money and their mental health without judgment. Until next time, everyone, keep learning, and remember, taking care of yourself, that's the smartest investment you can make.